This is Sky Power Radio and TV Services Studios, West Yorkshire, Leeds, Stencil Mount. Welcome all on board a weekly civic education program coming away from Studios, West Yorkshire, Leeds, Stencil Mount. At the seat, Mustafa Jame is my name. Today, Saturday, 17th of May 2025 at 17:05 on our weekly civic education program. Right, assalamualaikum badingulu alkontong mobe dauda ani be watu watito na lokung civic education program mo alal de maroto muntanang bide ngaluntam basoto mi along honorable Mr. Emmanuel Jufti. Okay, degul kati nyolande na yung feature Sky Power Radio and TV Services feature studios West Yorkshire, Leeds, Stencil Mount. Buntu program civic education program anda aksen Harit Mustafa Jamin akal and feature Rajabik. Right, today, as we usually have the panelists today would be, well, we're expecting Aziz to be just to join us. Alaji is a bit busy, he might not be able to make it today. Alaji said Dejabate might join us very shortly, and Bambakadi Mas. Currently, we've got Mr. Honorable Suleiman Jeng and Mr. Emmanuel Juve, the big man of the day. Okay, so nonetheless, what we'll do, so we'll buy you, introduce, we'll leave you to introduce yourself, and then we'll make a start on that, Mr. Suleiman Jeng. So,
Jerejef Mustafa, mangla njëkk a nuyu di la sant di la gërëm si taxawaay bi nga taxaw di make sure ne every weekend am nañ programme bi civic education jàkkaarloo suñu mbokk ñoo xam ne ñoo ñooy déglu ak ñoo ñooy seetaan saa yu ne ñoom it maa ngi leen a nuyu di leen sant ku nekk si sa tur ak di la jox sa wàccuwaay Mr. Emmanuel Diouf maa ngi laa nuyu di la sant ci sa teewaay bu sell bi nga teew tey jërë ngeen jëf.
Jërëjëf Sol. Mr. Diouf, this is not your first time. He's a proper gentleman. I would say, Mr. Diouf, thanks for taking the time, energy, and effort to come and join us today on this very important program, civic education program. I'll leave you to introduce hello to our viewers and listeners at the moment, Mr. Diouf.
Yes. Nuyu maa ngi leen di nuyu bu baax Moustapha ak Mr. Jeng waaye dafa mel ni seen volume bi léeg-léeg mu xaw a loode xaw ma ndax ci man la ndax si yéen la waaye maa ngi leen di nuyu bu baax di leen gërëm and thank you so much again li ngeen ma invite pour ma ñëw waxtaan laal ak yéen comme ni nga ko waxee rek I think maa ngi bëgg a foog ne bi lay ñetteelu yoon de foog naa at least ñaari yoon ñetteelu yoon may appear seen programme bi waa jërë leen jëf thank you so much.
We would like to take this chance if you are in the public space or plus hamne it is nice to see your face on the public platforms like this. Mr. Emmanuel Juve, to shy away from Udemy. So the topic title we want to look at the National Human Rights Council in the Gambia. Right, National Human Rights Council in the Gambia. I know you've got a mandate. Your mandate is a bit broad, but if you can summarize it for us in about 2 minutes, what are your roles at the National Human Rights Council in the Gambia, Mr. Juve?
Yes, thank you very much. You are very right. We have a very, very, very so dinaja has a mangis yenage has all of an angle. So I think I'll do the same. Our mandate is very broad, promoting and protecting human rights. Ñu fi dal pour taxawal yelef ak ahid doom adama. Loolu motax ñu sos ñu. We were created so gisee ñu create ñu moy after during the transitional justice period. So si baye hel di TRRC bam ñëwé di never again dëkk yu bari am nañ National Human Rights Institution which is a state institution but at the same time institution bo xamné is governed by international principles like the UN Paris principles. So we are more of a hybrid institution. Although we're a state institution, waaye di nga gis ne ni ñoo doxalee ak ni ñoo tëralee dafa sarata yoo xam ne li ñoo ooyee di UN Paris Principle moo ñu taxawal loolu tax dañu dee review ñun suñu dee review di seet li ñoo def dañu dee grade am na ñoo xam ne they don't have grading they waiting to have a grade am na ñoo xam ne ñu ngi leen jox B status am na ñoo xam ne jox nañ leen A waaye loolu moom it nañ si wax ca kanam waaye comme suñu liggéey rek mooy nekk fi pour protect and promote human rights ci jëfin boobu nag dinañ de ko mboolem nit koo xam ne am nga wax nga ne ñu ngi violate sa rights xëy na sax violate uñ ko waaye soo ko foogee sax da ngaa ñëw si National Human Rights Commission te loolu mun nga koo def ci fànn yu bare am na ñoo xam ne dañoo dox exhibé si Human Rights Commission ñu lay complain yéenay pour seen problème ñoom seen problème ñaaree léeg-léeg problème yi ñeneen ñooy wax ne di am na lu xew ak fii yéenay sa government bi si boppam ñoo wax ne yéen a ngi fi nekk de war ngeen am na loo leen war a toppatoo leen ko because people are not even abiding by the rule of law ñaareel nag li gën a ëpp sax mooy léeg-léeg journaliste si seen boppa ñoo yëgal xibaar ne am na luy xew sangam place ak lii ñun nag bañ nañ ko ba suñu liggéey am nañ sax li ñoo ooyee investigators xam nga dama bëgg a su ko defee lii mu leer bu baax dañ am directorates just pour wax la we have over 50 staff ba pare am nañ sax regional offices benn ngi nekk Farafenni di also oversee Lower River region am na beneen bu nekk Basse di oversee Central River region c'est office yi suñu office yëpp ak suñ directorate am na bi ñoo ooyee directorate of legal and investigation ñoo dee kis-kisi soo ñun suñ dee def suñ kis-kis duñ dee wax ne lii lañu police yi ak lii lañu police yi wax rek duy am foofu ñi nga gis ñeneen nekk sax suñ investigators yi and lawyers ñu bare ñu ngi leen jëlee former police officers professional they are investigators they are lawyers this is how we recruited them loota because ñun we report to the National Assembly bu yàggut nii rek 3 weeks ago National Assembly samoon nañ ma ne naa dem uyu pour wax leen ay affaire ak lii ñu leeralal leen so dañ dee def loolu so ñun suñu liggéey ba pare comme ni ma ko waxee léeg-léeg nit ñi ñëw pour ñu dox diggante nit ak nit léeg-léeg ñu dox diggante nit ñi ak nguur bi toujours waxtu bu nekk lii mooy suñu liggéey loolu tax ma leen sa tey sax bi ma eewoo am na yoo xam ne jot naa ko yu bare mu ngay jógee place yu bare yoo xam ne dañ bugg a ñu gestu si seet ko balaa moo ëpp loxo waa soo loolu la ñoo def waaye loi bi sax jox nañu doole our establishment act jox nañu doole comme ñu toog ni tribunal soo léeg-léeg dañoo toog oo nguur gi oo ak ñeneen ñi nga xam ne fii lañ ne they were not doing dafa am daal lu correct lu right luñ defut dañoo toog ni tribunal because loi bi jox nañu doole pour ñu summon witness ñun mun nañoo summon sa IGP bi mu ñoom ut siñu loi bi moo ñu jox doole boobu du bu yàgg di nga dégg benn keesi woon góor gi mbub bañ ko tuumalee ne dafa jàppoon koo xam ne dóor na ko gaañ ko ñu toog ñu toog ñun ñoo nekk di tribunal chair o nag suñ commission bi dañ ko yaatal commission boobu oowe nañ si Gambia Bar Association Tango police yi bokkoon nañ si civil society pour mu leer ñun daal suñ jëfal li ñoo def yëpp dañoo bëgg a mu leer dégg la nag am na yu bare yuñ dee def sax yow doo leen ko yëg parce que loolu mooy suñ liggéey soo dee négocier o ngay def li ñoo ooye alternative dispute resolution ak yu bare dañ ko dee def quietly ñaareel nag su paree dinañ ko dee post suñu website bi wala dina feeñ ci liñ dee ooye state of human rights report yii yëpp dañ ko dee def liñ dee def nag bare na amul dara loo xam ne awut si yelleef ak doomu aadama loo xam ne duñ ko def whether is disability rights soo gisee FGM when the issue came up we went to National Assembly dem nañ ci néegi député yi ba pare joxe nañ position paper waaye nag yii nag soo koy def léeg-léeg président bi jóg wax ne ñu bind ko ne ko monsieur président li nga wax loolu président waru ko wax léeg-léeg opposition bi def yoo xam ne waaye nag kuy def lu mel nii foog nga am from time to time foog nga am noonu moom laay wax we are not in the business of selling ice cream Mr. Jammeh yow may naa la rek si few one or two things yu ndaw rek te am naa yu bare suma archives yoo xam ne di nga dégg yi ñoo wax ci man tey dina nekk léeg-léeg gis bu yàggut NPP saaga yu metti bañ ma defal Photoshop ne maa dee téed Oloya Darboe Mike di gisoon nga loolu amoon na time UDP seen boppa defal ne am na seen supporters yu def benn small dog ñu ngi def buum def ne man maa nekk noonu barong maa xicca léeg-léeg nga am islamic scholars yoo xam ne fii lañ ne suñoo wax yëpp yi freedom and rights léeg-léeg ñu dëpp wax bi waaye nag suñu liggéey moo mel noonu waaye dañ am rek pour di clarify pour xam ne dañ fa nekk te soo gisee itam man war naa accept ne comme ni ko wolof yi dee waxee rek ku boot bukki foog xacci bow la liggéey bi moo mel noonu waa ma noppee ngum
jërëjëf Mr. Diouf.
We'll come to it in detail. The Gambia Press Union, your thoughts on and your reactions about the publication.
Okay. Danga buga ma wax bobu.
Yes, your thoughts on that, because something happened.
Wow. Dunyaka around the 8th, on the 8th of Nakati of this month, guy press union génne nañ benn release di wax daal di tuumal institution bi ne amoon na jataay buñ amoon daal boo xam ne oolu nañ Moustapha Darboe ba Moustapha Darboe ñëwee, that is the famous Moustapha Darboe of the Republic, bañ ko ooyee nag waaye dañ ko doon intimider, dañ ko doon coerce pour mu change story bi bim def di tuumal Aboubacar Tambidou wax bi daal noonu la demee waaye liñ ci wax bare na. Yiñ ci wax bare na.
No. Did that happen? Loolu dafa happen. Did it happen?
Lan ndax lan moo xew lan xam nga tuumal am na fa am meeting laaj ma lan nga bëgg a ma wax.
Meeting. What was the
meeting bi am na waaw meeting boobu yow soo xoolee sax I should have sent I've written extensively on it. Meeting bi am na okay soo bëggee ma waxtaanal la naka la fa taajoo naka la demee dinaa ko waxtaanee itam waaw li xew comme loo tax ma door di la explainal ne institution bu mel NHRC ñëpp ñoo leen di ut ñëpp dinañ leen ut ñëpp dinañ leen wax so Aboubacar Tambidou ci boppam kol na NHRC moom ci boppam ci waxtaanam mooy dafa bëggoon daf ñoo yëgal ne dafa wax naa ki ñoo ooy Emile Touré of the I think mooy the executive secretary of the media council te bëgg na Emile Touré convene a meeting parce que Moustapha Darboe reportam bi moom kontaanut si because dafa foog ne it doesn't represent bu baax moom li mu wax ba pare nit ñi ñu ngi ëlbati wax bi yim wax dam rek ma may la si tuuti mooy moom yooyu sax nekk na di ko wax na ko place yu bare fu mu nekk anyway ne although despite his work schedule juróomi fan rek lañ ko mayoon pour mu answer questions yu bare waaye moom answer na waaye mu ne bam answer questions jox ko yónnee ko Moustapha ci dee boobu si boppam la Moustapha lifin def publication bi so moom yaakaar foog na ne Moustapha amutoon benn interest pour jël moom yim ko wax responses yim ko wax ci report boobu so mu ne loolu nag méttil na ko lool ba pare tax nañu bare ngee wax ne Aida Moustapha daf ko target wala moom ci boppam dafa korop so bëgg naa Moustapha leeral loolu mu ne nag am na itam dama la rek li ma jot a wax ak Emile Touré wax itam waaye bii moom kol na wax na mu ne itam da bëgg naa waaw wax na loolu ba pare mu ne bëgg na Emile Touré ñu o Moustapha waaye bëgg na ci waxtaan boobu NHRC fekkee ko moom si boppam sax dafa wax ne dafa wax kii nii nakati commissioner Dramé la laajte woon pour mu teewee ko so ci waxam noonu dem naa gisi commissioner Dramé sa fekk mu ngi ci office bi ma ne ko jot naa kol de lii ak lii la Aboubacar Tambidou wax ne wax na Emile daal mu o Moustapha waaye bëgg na ci waxtaan boobu bu Emile ak president of the media council Baboucar Mr. Kini naka la tuddaat si waaye Baboucarr Cham waaw bugga na daal NHRC teewee ci waxtaan boobu so wax bi noonu la wax bi demee parce que moom mu ne moom ci boppam sax waaw li ma bëggoon a wax léegi ñëw na fàtte naa ko mu ne am na sax ñu ko wax ne ko jon ni mu demee nii ak ni mu ko bindee daf ko war a yóbbu court waaye moom foog na ne court is not the solution at this stage anyway wax bi daal nii la demee so Emile Touré later on da nga bëgg ma continuer am da nga ma bëgg a laaj dara
wala bëgg a laaj quickly rek balaa ngaa sori yaa ngi mention ne dafa bëgg a commissioner Dramé teewee ko so bëgg naa nga leeral suñ déglukat yi lan mooy rôle commissioner Dramé si council bi ak lu tax Aboubacar kii Tambadou specifically bëgg a commissioner Dramé teewee si meeting bi and not any other commissioner.
Wow, so mom comme ni ma ko waxee te xam nga the good thing about this is Commissioner Dramé is around nit mun na koo laaj Commissioner Dramé is a commissioner of the commission ñaareel nag suñu amee yi commissioners yi suñu leen waxee commissioners dañ dee sit di mediate waaye xaw ma daal xëy na itam man li ma xam Aboubacar Tambadou léegi damaa just spéculer waaye to be honest daf ma laaj Commissioner Dramé daal mention na turam ñaareel nag yu mel ni commissioner Imam Babali moo dee jiite negotiations so commissioner even beneen commissioner su toogee when it comes to mediation alternative dispute resolution negotiation Imam Babali moom lañ jox ñun commissioners yëpp am nañ apart from man chairman la maay di spokesperson ak am na yeneen yi ma dee def waaye ñun ñëpp dañ jox commissioner bu nekk am na luñ la jox pila buñ la jox ba pare jox la alternate like man on disability rights man la on civil and political rights directly yooyu man la waaye ku nekk am nga alternate man maay alternate commissioner Imam Babali da nga gis bañ amee caste bañoo dem URR si yëfi caste system yi saraxule ba xëy awee maanaam moom ñoo ànd waaye moo jiite affaire si so just to come back commissioner Dramé la waaye commissioner Dramé nag unfortunately mu ngi doon travel the next day to Addis Ababa on meeting so sa Aboubacar Tambadou loolu so hello
section bi mooy ne lan mooy rôle commissioner Dramé ak lu tax Babali
commissioner Dramé déedéet déglul dafa mel ni bàyyiloo si xel when complaints are lodged complaints can be lodged mediation can be done by commissioners if commissioners are invited te dinaa gën a leeral loolu si kanam. This is not the first time commissioners are requested to mediate. Commissioners can be invited. Dina wax lolu sa office of the IGP dinga gis na ci suma binda bi sa wax na where on numerous occasions we are invited by government by parties to have either commissioners sit or a commission to sit. Li de xew ñaarel it gives credibility. To be honest with you, ñaarel credibility la day joxe woné ne an independent institution also was part of it. So lola, this is as simple as that. Lolo, dama bëgg nga understand lolo. Ne this is nothing strange at all. Ndax mun naa continuer am da nga bëgg laaj teewaat leneen.
Mun naa continuer, you can continue, yeah.
Wow, okay, so in fact, unfortunately.
Before you even continue, Mr. Diouf, my concern is why is Mr. Tambadou, why is he so concerned about this meeting to happen? Why is that?
No, okay, Mr. Jame, when people feel aggrieved, because those are not party to this particular incident. Dama la bëgg yëgal nga xam bu baax ne when people feel aggrieved loolu tax ma wax ne mbiri human rights it's both horizontal and vertical. This is all the time li ma la wax ni tey sax information bi ma am dama ko am pour relay ko yónnee ko commissioner si ne ñu ñoo laaj pour ñu mediate. So mediation and people feeling aggrieved loolu tax su fekkee ne déglu nga bu baax li ma wax. What he said was he would rather prefer a mediation, a media council waxtaan ak Mustafa, you trash out whatever issues that they have. So this is normal. I will come to explain to you how even the GPU themselves come to NHRC. you know, so lima bañ moy wax bi di nuro ne this is sinister, Tambidou dafa ñew, everybody comes to the NHRC when people don't even have fish money. No, may ma Daniel, dama wax su ko defé hanga mu leer, because it seems to appear as if ne why would he, because that same Tambidou ak Ibrahima Silla ba the tria jot na problem amé deka bi bu ataka, they came to the NHRC. GPU came to the NHRC, and it was in the offices of the NHRC that that matter was settled and the charges were dropped and King FM was open and Digital FM. Dama buga rek mu leer, because wax bi bare na ñi lay ngey wax li fii ñi lay ngey wax lele fele affaire si mom nonu la demee. So fekkee ne buga nga ma su fekkee ne da nga buga laajte mom mun nga laajte, waaye su fekkee ne da nga buga ma continuer mun naa continuer.
Munga continue ci kanam, why dañu bëgg nga leeral ñu fi, why is it that, have you got any relationship with Mr. Tambidou, personal relationship?
Oh yes. Okay, David, man, I'm not relationship with Mr. Tambidou. Suma relationship with Mr. Tambidou sa du tay. I'm talking about the time of when we formed the Coalition of Human Rights Defenders. He was a member, and many others. Depuis that time. So Mr. Tambidou hamna ko buba. Madi Jobate hamna ko buba. I founded a Flair. It was a civil society formed on legal research, advocacy, and education. So nima hamman ci struggle bi barena Tambidou hamna ko buba. So that is not hidden. That is not hidden. Lota manela saman feel lane. So Gise at the time he didn't mention it. Why Mungdon Genawa Commissioner Drame? Because Hamna Tambidou Buba. I know Abubakar Tambidou, and I know many other people from Almamitals. When we opened a legal aid clinic, he was one of the lawyers there. I can give you a litany of people, and I never hide that. When I went to the TRRC, these are close associates during the struggle. You know, and I've maintained relationship with almost most of them. So to answer your question, do I know Tambidou? Yes. Do I know him very well? Yes. I guess Nelolu, learn. You continue.
That is clear. So, Honorable Balanganyo, the thing is, did you state for Mustafa to revoke or to retract, his publication or apologize to Mr. Tambidou? Did you ever try to take that route?
So, Legi, now we are getting to the meeting itself. Now we're getting to the meeting. When Mustafa was called, in fact, the media council, Bima Kini Kole, Emil wanted it to be held at the NHRC in our conference room, because he felt also, we have the conference facilities. So he called Mustafa, and Mustafa came. And when Mustafa came, the four of us were there. Man, Emil Toure, Mr. Cham, and Mustafa. And the issues that were raised were repeated, dilated. Man wana li Abubakar Tambidou wa. Emil Sibopa wana nemo initiate meeting, bi wana li Abubakar Tambidou wa. And then all what was written that he felt. This is what they go tajal dal ne ko lila Abubakar Tambidou wa, with all the insinuation, with all from the way the way the report came, it looked as if he was the target. It was also mentioned perhaps there was he felt this were perception from Tambidou, and Tambidou saying that these were what people were also feeling based on the criticisms and what was coming out of it. And so all these things were said, and then, but to be honest with Mustafa was very firm and professional. I must say this. Mustafa, and I remember 4 points. I didn't,
sorry for Dogla. I'm going to am need ñoo xamne ñu ñoo déglu, and then they are interested in you answering the questions that we are asking. So question ni Mustafa bim la laajte mooy ne ndax yow did you try to make Mustafa K Dabo mu retract publication am bi, or pour mu apologize si ba Tambidou? Did you?
No, okay. Lola Lawa, I cannot tell Mustafa to retract.
Okay.
I cannot. So Lola, Momla explainal. Momla explainal. What I remembered was said. This is what I am exactly telling you. It was laid out to him. Abubakar Tambidu, this is what he felt. He felt Mustafa should put straight the records, if I, for want of a better words, because it looks as if he is targeting him, that is, he's targeting Abubakar Tambidu as corrupt, and as that he is the target of the report. But so this was Emil repeated this key Nakati, Mr. Cham. This is what was coming out from the complaints of Kini Nakalatuda, of Abubakar Tambidu, and rather than even recoursing to legal action or anything, he would rather prefer Mustafa to set the record straight. So Mustafa, I'm just telling you, this was a very frank and open discussion. Remember, so Limasim, what I am uneasy about is the fact that Mustafa, who can pressure Mustafa if you know the way Mustafa writes or whatever, and even if Mustafa was pressured, Mustafa could have just left and said, this is not a meeting I want to be part of. But when people are talking in a discussion, Lota Manela, the discussions I have been with, why didn't I know what? I'm not diverging. I'll just come again to that. But for example, Maggie give an example on the Voice newspaper when we went to see His Excellency on the closed door meetings. Certain things are said and advices are given. While coming back to Mustafa, I remember when these issues were made, Mustafa was he came and I remember him saying this. He even turned and said, Mr. Ju, well, not Mr., but he said, do you know my relationship with Ba? I have a good relationship. I go, okay. Mune Bepare, Ba's complaint, I have addressed it. He said, when Ba I spoke to him, he came up with a rejoinder and published exactly Liba Bino Lim Wahne Refko Omit Fofu. And then he also said, okay, and he mentioned Mom, despite the perception that Ba has or other people may have by criticizing Ba, he does not control the public opinion of people. They can read what they read and they can make their own assumptions out of it. And then he went to say that if people of the impression are saying that he was paid, nobody can pay him. I remember Mustafa put his points strongly, very strongly. He told us that this was a subject. His piece was a subject of 2 years investigation and interrogation. Like was said, this was a meeting that was held in a friendly atmosphere. I must tell you. So what is strange is as if this was done covertly. It's unfortunate though, because B Mustafa did buy meeting be one email mungeto ente email sanako. Are you still using your email address? Because I will write to you. I will contact my editorial team, all the issues that we discuss or whatever, and I will tell you what I think about this whole process. No, I'm still using email. You are not my internet savvy. So man, meeting, I did not see anything wrong, and I feel that if something was wrong, Mustafa should have just objected straight away and said it. So, but to me, this was the genesis. So I think they're making a mountain out of a molehill. And look at my wahlulu.
From your sawa, you seems to be very disappointed in the way meeting Binyo, like Mustafa did not speak out, say exactly how he felt. Why later you just discovered a press union with an living a statement pour dila tumal ne yenang don jema force Mustafa pour mu retract. Lima buga xam moy ba wana ne Mustafa contact na ko jox na ko information and then mom reply na Mustafa bila ba kole. Did you ask him ndax mom contact na Mustafa for express his feelings before mu ngi leena use pour ngeen mediate or not?
No, okay. lima la wax si information bi ba joxe ba actually spoke more to email than to me. Daf ma doon yëgal ne contact na ba daf ma doon yëgal ne dafa bëgg NHRC be part of that meeting with Mustafa again. And this is why I'm telling you. And unfortunately, if Commissioner Drame was not traveling that day, I may not have even been part of that particular meeting, or I may have been there also with him. You know, so mom la try pour narratal la. Xam nga maa ngi pateleku what was said. It came from a phone call, and he mentioned these things. He mentioned these things, and he also mentioned. Lima Fadeliku vividly. He talked about some people, even some family members or whatever, friends, were telling him that he should perhaps recourse to courts and instruct a lawyer. You know, why he felt there was an opportunity to have a discussion with Mustafa, and Emil is going to convene the meeting. Even is going to call it. So this was actually an information being relayed to me. In fact, as soon as he said that, it was after saying this, I went, because it was almost closing hours. I went to Commissioner Graham's office to inform him exactly. I said, hey, this is the call I had. And of course, one can call him and attest to it. So to me, man, limasi mer moy, well, not mer, limasi concern moy, there was nothing, it looks, the way it's portrayed, it was as if, let me tell you exactly, because I know Ba very well, and people know that I know Ba. But it's not only Ba that I know. I'm telling you, I know a lot of people, including Madi, and including many, many things, you know, that I should not even say. So, but so Nimko he, non lako he. And then Emil did contact, and they said they're having. So I'm disappointed because Philo Nane, Mustafa is strong enough. When Mustafa, and especially the period of Malagan, they will bring a copy for me to read and review. I have opened workshops and training for them. I have an open door policy to the extent that sometimes people feel that, Chairman, you are too open. You know, but I said, but if I don't live in a military setup, it's the NHRC. People must have access to the institution. So yes, I am disappointed. The fact that I would have expected if Mustafa was angry, he should have said it right there, because Mustafa can be a straight shooter. He could have even stopped the meeting right there. You know, so Lolo la concerned. Bepare, GPU, yes, okay, Mustafa went and told them whatever. I think GPU has that, as I said, unless if you don't want me to say, we have intervened so many times, and I can give you specifics. You can go and cross-examine and check where the GPU felt they were being persecuted, and where the GPU felt that they have not been fairly treated, or members of GPU rather. And the NHRC has taken up these issues. So, and sometimes these things are even said and done in confidence. And it's important that what we do as an institution, and especially when you are doing resolution at that level, you know, people, in fact, we will now even have maybe different standard operating rules of procedure. We are one of those institutions where doing the you know, buy some mobile be out or record, because we feel that people must have confidence when they come to the NHRC. There was a time people even mentioned, no, people are coming in here and they're saying meetings here, record Lenko. But I said, listen, people should have ethics, and they can stop and say, listen, I don't like this or this and that. But this is the way we operate. This is the way we operate. But anyway, the point I'm making is that there was no pressure. The issue was put to Mustafa, what Tambedu said. And Mustafa came out strongly. And in other words, Mustafa Samuno now straight away. A lot of issues were discussed. Some of these perceptions that were raised, but I told them categorically A, B, C, D, E. But he mentioned those, but he also told Emil, I will get back to you using your email address. So Limo issue be that. These were the issues that were there.
Thank you. What sort of outcome were you expecting, Mr. Yu?
Well, I personally, I was not. You see, when you start this discussion, you lay out the issues. You lay out the issues. This is how this person felt. Nila Kifil, What do you think? These are the issues. And there could have been different outcomes. In fact, that's why Mustafa came out clearly, no mom dinner than what but Mustafa felt, let me explain to you. Mustafa felt, based on what we said, that there was no need for him to try and say anything to show that he was targeting Ba or he was not targeting Ba. Man, I believe that when he said that, he does not control the way people interpret what he writes. I think that was his position. So if there was any outcome, man, be more by, that's what I actually felt. So, but he said he was going to contact him. But I think that was very clear.
With all due respect, it seems Neyangi avoid pour answer questions directly. Because Mom Limla what outcome were you expecting to get out of that meeting? Not what Mustafa or any other person expected. Yo, Mr. Juf, what was the outcome that you were expecting to get out of the meeting? Quick answer, Bobo Lanchola, audience, Bobo Lanchola.
Well, okay. Why? I think you're also being unfair. But I will explain something very clearly to you. And this is very genuine. And I've repeated it even before attending that meeting. I mentioned that I hope whatever is said or done, this matter will not result to any court action because it will not augur well. It will not augur well. Man, I believe I wanted whatever was going to be, whatever was the parties were going to talk about, that is both Mustafa and Ba, that they will not resort to court action. And this, to be honest, this was it, because this was what was being hinted that it felt. But when you're negotiating and or when you're discussing, let me explain to you. When you hear from one side, and this is very clear, when you're talking to the other party, and the other party can come out very clearly, you're talk okay, that is a very solid point. That is a very solid point. So you do not come in there with a like a close nakala go ahead. This particular thing go deme. So this is why I'm trying to explain to you.
Batembedu was very clear when he called Hama Commissioner Drame and whatever he said to you later.
No, call it Commissioner Drame. Call it Commissioner Drame.
He felt he was, misrepresented. And
yes.
Information being Mustafa Dafko target. So for Batambedu, his objective was for you to make Mustafa, retract his publication because Dafafin could have got target. So Dafko on target.
Well,
his story.
Why, Mr. Jeng? Limalawa. When you see, okay, without trying to give even examples, because I will reveal other things that are probably not on the table. When people come and say things, you also say a key, it happens in the, and if we do that, this is what they say, this is what they are saying. And then go by, Momu explain, the other side explain. Just because Batambedu, Bugana, certain things happen. That doesn't mean that it will happen. You can lay it out and even say, well, this is what he says. What do you think? Think about it. Lolala Jema explainer. Lolala Jema explainer. But you cannot force. But Mr. Jen, you cannot force. You cannot force somebody. Could the reporter Mudam retire? Mustafa came out clearly in the discussion, and these were the 4 points I remember vividly that he said. He said, well,
in sum, what was the objective of Ngen Mita Mustafa?
Yeah, but I explained to you. I think we are going around unless you want to tell me that this was the objective. The objective was to come to an amicable solution between them because there was differences. But Tambidu felt, and I will repeat again, and Emil Ture, who spoke to him for a longer period, felt that one, the report did not go into details. The responses he gave to Mustafa. Mustafa did not double check or reference. And again, here I'm saying not all of it is coming from Batambilu, but some of it is coming from email as well. Did not reflect all the responses he gave to him, given the short and also the short notices, and then it appears to him. And this is again the things he has said from family, friends. He was the subject of a target, and then it was made in such a way that it appears that he was corrupt. And he said this is what pains him. Te bugana Mustafa rectify Lulu. This was the gist of the discussion. This was really the gist of the discussion, and it was put out there.
In a nutshell, Mustafa retract story about him.
Well, okay, needs our job. This is the thing. No, let me explain to you, because you are making it as if it's funny. If, for example, and I'll give you an example. If, for example, one is negotiating between the Voice and His Excellency, you go there and you explain the position. And if you're just posing, if His Excellency is saying, well, no, I will not drop it because I felt bad, this and that. If they retract, the thing is, that's what his position is. You can come back and tell the particular person, well, we tried to say X, Y, and Z. It doesn't augur well for me, but this is what he's saying. What do you say? But these are the issues. You have to understand when you are doing this kind of talks. Listen, I've been in many of these at different levels, very many different levels. You have to be very careful, and you lay it out and leave it there. You lay it out. Well, Lila, what do you say? What? So these are the things that were put. But if you want to already decide, people were trying to force, it will be difficult to force Mustafa. Knowing the way.
Mr. Youth, my concern here is, you said this matter or this case is not going to end up in court. You know that. You say you know that, but that sounds a bit preemptive.
This matter.
You said you definitely know that it's not going to end up in the court. Is that?
No. I didn't say that.
Okay, I thought you said.
I did not say that. No. I didn't say that. One of the things I said, one of the many things I've said now, the issue of, I think the worst thing that can happen was this matter even being escalated, going to court. Because in the process, even, let me add, when these things happen, a lot of information is even given, either from outside or from inside or within, that there was information there that even Ba had actually, I think, instructed a particular lawyer. You see, this is, when you're into these discussions, and that's why initially I was very generic in my explanation, because you have to also get the confidence of people, and from now on, I think we'll have our ground rules and even record these things. But when these things come out, a lot of things come out because it's done with confidence. Now you are laying it out that this is what is being said. This is what is these are the perceptions. You have to come out very clean and open. Otherwise, you'll not have a discussion. So there was nothing. Limobuga mukle amoy. Ninko potre fumnekani mungimelli, something was done in a very covert way. Nothing is done in covert. Lota, my explanation, sumalawa here at very high level, other things that have happened and things that were said and information that even comes out, you show people and you don't even want it to come out in public. But this is the nature of an Nhrc when you have a mandate to talk to stakeholders. No, but Fongen Alam Mamawa. No, listen. Fongen Alam Mamawa, because the thing is, listen, the thing is, there were questions raised, why at the Nhrc? So unless you don't know what Nhrc does, I can give you a litany of things that the Nhrc does. And this is one of many. Why did you sit? Why was it you? Why did you sit there? What was said? What was said? In fact, what was said should have been something between the parties. Why? What was said now probably would not have even been said, but because there is Mustafa Mustafa, and they put it out there. So it's important, therefore, to go and say, okay, these were the discussions, things that were said as well. There were 4 people there. So anyway, this is the issue.
Okay, why were you disappointed?
Why was I disappointed is that, okay, I was disappointed in the sense that, and I said it again, unless you don't want to hear, if in the event that Mustafa was not happy, straight away, Mustafa could have even stopped and said, listen, guys, I don't think this is getting anywhere. No, he could have done that straight away. Okay, but okay, then he left. He said he is going to contact Emil, and only within 24 hours to read something from GPU said that Mustafa was called and intimidated, pressured in order to exonerate, intimidate, pressure in order to exonerate the former Minister of Justice. So this was how the information came out. In fact, I even tried to call them. I had, Nhrc, you are the last to know. I had even gone to a funeral, and I found a lot of missed calls, and some even saying, we know why you're not answering your call. These are the things that happened. And when I looked at it, and of course the story came, I said, wow, this is serious. So I quickly tried to call, of course, GPU, at least the Secretary General and the President. And of course, they didn't answer. I tried for 1 hour, and somebody, member in our office, told me, he said, Mr. Jub, I think you should leave them, because the more you call Solen Ame, Soido de Wahanyomsa, it may come out as if the story can even spin that not only were you pressuring Mustafa, you're even pressuring them. So then I stopped. Then I actually stopped. So so okay. So why am I feeling this way? I expected GPU, whether this was the way the story was relayed, or whether they are the ones who analyzed and interpreted what took place, I would have expected them to approach, even if it is not me, but the Media Council. They initiated. And nobody should fault the Media Council. Tango during the time of John Charles Yai, Sumalaw had a number of mediation of similar sorts that he brought to that office. There are numerous and many. Again, John Charles Yai is around, is alive. Saliu Tal has been co-opted. And you know what usually I do? I try to make it as broad as possible, because then it's even easier. So unfortunately, beyond it was 3 Media Council. So this is what happens when you have discussions in these things. A lot of things happen. People talk. People try to find a common ground. So I am disappointed, one, that Mustafa didn't raise his objection, that he was not comfortable, he was not happy with the discussion or line of discussion. But number 2, GPU. And GPU is, and I've said that the GPU is our partner in many areas. As we spoke, we were with them trying to responsible journalism on hate speech, disinformation, and misinformation. So this is, I would have expected them to even raise objection and talk to the Nhrc before even writing anything. So this is my disappointment, and I think anybody would have been disappointed. Less, especially if you have relationships with these institutions. So this is why I'm saying I'm disappointed.
I think you are really valid on that aspect. Ethical journalism dafa require nga double check information before nga publish ko. So if you had a relationship with them before they would have gone to press, waron nañ la contact nila, well, this is what Mustafa said to us. What is your side of this story? So definitely, that is disappointing. You've tried to also reach out to them and then you didn't. But again, lima buga buttress rek moy ne su fekkee ne, for instance, man ñëw na pour si commission bi ne I've got an issue with Mustafa suñ lifin bi host bi. So Manyo wala li aglila. So would you first ask me that I've reached out to Mustafa pour ñu settle ko among ourselves, or would you just say, okay, we'll take your case and then we'll call Mustafa and find out? Ban approach would you have taken?
Okay, bring the scenario. Every scenario is different. That's why I explained, even with the voice, we didn't even have to hear from the voice. Everything was out already in the newspaper.
Yeah,
The committee of journalists. No. I'll explain. Every situation requires, when we negotiate with Madi, when we call Mahmoud Job, and even excluded Madi because Madi was very rude and bound living table, because then Filone will not even get a better result if Madi was on that table. So the understand every situation is different. And also, to be honest, this time, it was not even initiated by Nhrc. We were invited. We initiate and invite others, but this time we were invited. I also want you to, and again, this is not strange at all. We are called into meetings to have an independent year. Sometimes it's even just as observers. Understand. Understand. This is the job I've been doing for 6 years.
Yeah.
You know, at different levels. So come back to your scenario, based on how I would have handled what you tell me. Please give me the scenario again.
I've got difference with Mustafa suma host bi. Let's say for instance mabinda a story ma jox ko mom mu dem edit story bi without letting me know edit nako or lifin na mu publish ko, and I'm not happy with the way name ko publish. So ma ñew ci yeen pour ngeen negotiate suma digante mom. What would you advise me in the first instance?
Straight away, what we will do, we will listen to what you're saying. We listen to what you're saying, and there is always what we call in the commission the alteram partem. Hear the other side. You have to. And this has saved us, Mr. Jang. In many ways, so information, there was a particular information that came to us. Manfima talks adama mer. Why gisnga bany oye kenen besuma instigators them. No. I was happy. I would have been, the commission would have been very embarrassed. Extremely embarrassed. So the first thing that you should do, you will listen. Hamga bepare kuneka will paint their side nice. It's human nature. We will paint our lilies nice. So it's always important. Nit ki ñew bepare su ñewé also be very honest. Neko ñun liñ dégga li la wax. Te ñaarel wax bi sa du dé am fofu dé. Di nga né li lañ wax dé bepare ci wax bobu ñun tam kisi li lañ dégga. X, Y, and Z itam bokana si. Yo nanga ko halate. But this has to be done. You must hear the other side. It's a cardinal rule of even journalistic ethics. You must hear the other side. Lota Mala explained as early as the big one that we did when this guy was charged with both civil and criminal. Not only did we go to talk to his, but we came back and we called the person. And he came, and it was about 4 commissioners spoke now, 4 or 5, never money. X, Y, and Z. And we even told him some other things that I will not even mention here. Again, he could have sunyake on kersamunna genane bima gaidi wa waran malisa protecting ma. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I think you have to be very honest and fair when you say these things to people. You know, you will have to fonga am convinced. So my disappointment is that. My disappointment also feel on because this is not the first time I am interaction with Mustafa, and I will not also reveal, even when it comes to him trying to get information on something, this is not the first time. And I didn't even come out and said, hey, Lila Mustafa Bugon. I'm just saying that, and I cannot, as chairperson of I have to be measured. What I say and what I say has to be to come to the common good. But at the end of the day, whatever happened was not a court of law. Whatever happened was done voluntarily. So this should come out. This should come out. And Lotama, so we say I took pains to go through all these issues. Other commissioners would have been there. If Babali was not out of town, he would have probably even led it. These things are there. That's why we do things. So Lola Bugarek come out. Well, the thing is also, I can say what I say. it's up to people also. Can I use what Mustafa is saying? It's up to people also to draw their conclusion or opinion. I can let me borrow a leaf from Mustafa. So let people interpret. If they feel that because hamna ba wa bilai hamna ba tambidu. Hamna madi wa life form na association bo hamna madi bokanasi, among other things. Hamna almamital, oh yes. When we started our legal aid, Almami was from the length and breadth of the Gambia we went. Among I will not deny that. Maybe with hindsight, maybe because of man, I believe that it was also the issue became charged. You know, Hamga Tombe mo in the IGAP. Te Aido MC Bopi Borom. So you know, so man, I think it was all these things are on timing. You know, a lot of these things have happened, but it was the timing, the characters involved, among other things. I think Lolula. Why well, there was no sinister thing. But li munge in the yenen danga gisne. Whenever we are called, next time we have to be very careful. Whenever people actually even approach us, and I will raise that with even at the level of the not even mediation. I'm talking about complaints level, where we have people sign forms because we have to be careful because the country is so polarized right now that even so you try product jama, people can see things into it. But you see, the thing is, you see, when I chaired the Parababanta Commission of Inquiry, because everything is linked to what I'm saying. I remember. All of a sudden, Panderi, unfortunately, who I knew very well, even he exposed me. I was Purjaleko. What he said, chair, because man rain it. I thought it was a joke. Dama rain it, why you do. And then somebody from nowhere sent me a clip of the audio. Who did I kill? Yes, there was a time I had an accident. I was even prosecuted by flimsy charges, but I was man to be at the period I was a magistrate. There was no other person. And he came up with a rejoinder. It didn't stop there. Then people said, because the sittings were held at the Nakala Hotel, Bituda, Atlantic Hotel, they said I was even staying at the hotel using exorbitant, the state is paying for me a lot of money. So why am I saying all this? There are links. When you're when you are part of a process, of course, you're I'm known. When we talked about non-discrimination and people we are trying to encourage gay marriage. I remember my mom calling me. I was at the office. I was shocked. Munema boy, where are you? Yo lead commissioner at State House with Barrow. You're convincing him to change the laws and accept gay marriage. No, Lima explain. I have to say these things now. When you do these things, and especially if you maybe know also the parties, people will say things. These things do happen. These things do happen. But of course, there are lessons learned. Lessons are learned in everything. And I'm sure, tell me, there are a lot of lessons that are learned from this particular convergence and meeting. But anyway, this was the crux of the meeting. And Nila de Medal.
Speculation, or people are saying you need to resign because of this.
Wow. Okay. So Kikena wanna resign. Moi comrade Madi. Comrade Madi. But I did not know Luta Munema resign. Lima read in between it Moine. Why should the Nhrc have been part of this? Again, that should not come from Madi. Why should not come from Madi? Anga Wahnala. And I said that Madi has been our #1 client at various angles.
What makes him your #1 client?
Okay. Madi is someone that is seen by the authorities as a thorn in the flesh. Madi makes statements.
Okay. So the authority authority has seen Madi as a thorn in flesh. Yeah, is that what you're saying?
Wow. So
in summary, Mr.
No,
Gill,
in summary, Mahdi has been picked up before. Not once, not twice. Mahdi has been charged. Complaints have been made against Mahdi. So Hole Suma right of Bima Bindasa, Mange Pateluku, the late IGP Mahmoud Job. And I will say this here. And he didn't even say this only in my presence. So Munga dem Lajal Shiri Bojang Jr. Mungi England. Sheikh Jame.
I think he's listening.
Yes, Sehu Jame, I'm on a banner meeting when I'm fofu. But again, that Mahmoud Job, and I think he was wise. Maybe he even thought, maybe this Mr. Job more bought all these troublemakers. It was after I just realized, why did he choose me to chair? The my invite, Nako chair meeting. And then, in fact, that was the first time I even knew that Chiri Bojang Jr. is a blood brother of Modu Bojang of Membikering. I didn't even know this. But Chiwaham, he said he wanted responsible journalism, and these young men were eloquent. They were there. They stood their ground. But one of the things he really lamented was he gave Mahdi an open door policy. He even read text telling Mahdi, if you want to clarify things, please, even before you write, clarify. Why? And then he was very angry. Mahdi consistently was even calling him Mindanla, this and that, that and that, this and that. And he said many things. And then there was an article that was written about his son being involved in dubious activities. Anyway, he poured his out. So, but then again, there are subsequent arrests. Yo Hamga, the problem, and I even called Mahdi in my office, only the two of us. And I explained to him a lot of issues. There was even one time he mentioned the death of Usman Dabo, the guy who, I think Sierra Leonean Gambian, who was asthmatic, and people said he died in police custody. And of course, they wanted to charge Mahdi for false. Actually, they even charged him. We got them to drop the charges because we even did investigation. The guy died in Medicare. We had the medical records kept. So, but anyway, the thing was to tell Mahdi to be measured. Yes, you cannot again stop Mahdi. Who can stop Mahdi? But that let him, whatever he says, let him be factual in it. But that is not the first time. You know that.
So he's not factual. Is that what
no. And the other one was when the head of state mentioned in one of the feast Eid, Kital Dekabi, some words to that effect. I can't remember all of it. Mahdi stayed away. Not only did he call, he wrote. His life is on the thread. And guess what we did? We wrote, and I signed that letter to His Excellency. Neko, by making that statement, you may open up Mahdi to being, because the Nubarenko saga, people were saying very bad things. And to be true to the office of the Secretary General, through the OP, they wrote back. Mahdi Jobate is not on the thread. In fact, when that letter came, I called Mahdi. Our executive secretary wrote to him. They were responded, and I read to him, although I didn't give him the copy, what was said. So, okay, the point, it should not come from Mahdi. Mahdi knows exactly and much more what we do. The amount of text that Mahdi sent us, the amount of when plainclothes officers go around his compound, when a vehicle without number plate go around his compound, guess who Mahdi will text? Nhrc, either me, Commissioner Drame, or somebody else. So again to Mahdi, I was disappointed because I just believed that he was going with the flow. Mahdi exactly knows. Nimma text, Munonama text, hey chairman, I don't think you are right here, and I will explain to Mahdi. That's what I'm saying. Really, this was just the issue. Again, he was not distant. So, Lima Wahmoy, these are people, these are characters I know. They are not foreign to me. So, if I'm disappointed, it was packaged, the way it was packaged, as it was sinister. For Mahdi to say it was an error of judgment, then maybe it was an error of judgment. The 7, 8, 9 times we stood, Nhrc stood for Mahdi, or I stood. Call Mahmoud Job Neko, yes, he made a mistake. Usman Dabo didn't die in that custody. Our investigators have come up with facts, but I don't think it's good for your legacy to go after Mahdi. Among other things, I could say much, but I should not, because also it will also, it's not good.
Right.
I hold a position, and I'm a chairperson of an institution. I hold a position. So the thing is this. No, I'll have to address this because Manta Mange address. Look at my address. I also read. My children will also read. My children will also read. So again, lot of money living in my life. My friend, could do social media. So in negotiate, you will also know and say what the perception that is out there. So all these things are there. All these things are there. So this is why I'm saying that I am disappointed, and I hope you'll understand. I was not a busybody. But I have to emphasize this. I was not a busybody. It was not done clandestinely. Otherwise, I would not have even mentioned. But I've thrown a lot of names in these things I've said. But actually, even when member caring, I believe, and this thing were open, I believe even the Shiribojang Genius or the others were even, this was a closed door meeting with 2 ministers. And we told the press not to record everything. Again, you see why we didn't want record. Because so that may put record in it, people will not be bold and say things. So we have to be really honest. But let me explain. And I'll say this finally. Listen, people say these things. Listen, I want it to be very clear. I have worked for over 15, 16 years out there. I made a re-entry in 2018. My human rights activism go a long way back when Jame threatened to sell us 6 foot deep. I do not need the Nhrc job. I was not given a favor. The process in which commissioners were selected is very clear. Because I hear these things. And again, I don't need my contract to be renewed. I am serving my last term as a commissioner. These things has to come out because this is the society that we have. It's a fact. You're smiling, Mustafa, but I need to say it. You hear this cheap stuff, the Fasola job. Mustafa, I worked. I'm not a rich man, but since 2005, I've been in and out working in East Africa, and a lot of people know me. You know me. You can go to my profile, and I do not need to curry favor with Barrow, with Batambedu, with Mustafa. Yes, with I've been doing this. Okay. I've been doing this, and I will continue to do it until I resign. I will not even come for your interview anymore. Why Demopuga leave? Let it be clear. I'm sorry if I raise my tempo a bit, but I also the NHRC chairperson is also, after all, a human being.
A human being. You're a human being. Yes. Okay. Mr. Youth, all these conversation, all these meeting, you think there's human right concern or violation of somebody's right is a concern here, you think?
Okay, you mean this particular this particular thing?
Yeah, this particular, yeah.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, okay. Lola, don't try to explain. Another thing people don't understand. Lola, this is not, there are few other private ones I will not dare to mention. I don't want to mention because those people sorted out their issues and went away. So I don't think it's fair. It's not brought out in the open. So I'll not, but just to answer your question, whenever it involves issues of the press, or, human rights can be, alleged human rights violation can be vertical, it can be horizontal. It can be the state coming down heavily because the state has the power. It could also be even the state complaining against a journalist. It could be an individual complaining that their rights have been violated, defamation. It is a human rights. Ask the human rights experts. Alleged human rights violations are vertical, and yes, it is. In a nutshell, I can give you a lecture as to violations of human rights are not just between the state and the individual. It can be between individuals. So, but these are alleged. Yes. When you enter into this talk, well, can I just finish? You asked me the question. Allow me to finish. Everything here is alleged. No, everything is alleged. Ba is alleging. Mustafa is saying, no, his allegation. I said, but this is, and yes, it's my rights. So even defamation itself is an alleged violation of somebody because you're saying my character has been assassinated. In a nutshell, yes, it involves allegation of a human rights violation.
Okay. So, if you should say, one should say specifically, can you clarify when such an intervention absent a formal complaint of a right violation falls into your scope, like your scope?
Please, I didn't hear the last thing you said.
So, yeah, so like,
If I can,
if we can say or clarify whether such an intervention absent a formal complaint, like complaining formally of a right violations falls under your scope, like your power, within your powers.
100%.
Ah, okay. That was too short and precise. 100%, that's it.
Well, I try to give explanation and I'm told I'm not answering questions. You see, me, I like giving examples. I could have given you similar examples and Mr. Geng will tell me, answer the question. 100%. I didn't even say yes or no. There is no margin of error there, 100%.
Please elaborate.
For clarity's
sake. Nobody can escape. I'm going to help. I'm going to help Mr. Jame and Mr. Jeng. I am in a position more Lindan what time hallelujah. So I magna understand proverbs. Kick day, nyaka kick day. I'm going to help. Mr. Juf, it doesn't matter. Kick day, nyaka kick day. You go this way, they will go that way. You go this way, they will go that way. You know, so and this is why I try to explain to you. If the Nhrc, we receive complaints from individual against individuals. Individuals against the press. It happens. It happens. Lola Tabukawa. Amna a litany individual and some of these journalists who are listening, again, Bugumawa too. Because it's not fair. They are not part of this. So just GPU directly. And some of them will be called. And I even explained to you, one of them was told to be careful because that reporting, if it's emanate from the report of the Nhrc, they reported what was out there. It's in the, I even gave the person Manakoso de Messi website. Either you did not read it properly, but this is what was said. So Lola Labugawa, there are series of them between individuals, even against journalists, the people against the state. I will take my file and I'll go and talk to the Minister of Defense. Again, I'm saying this just purunga. I cannot go to individual cases. I will take my file and I will maybe talk to the National Security Advisor. I will Lila Labuganga understand. I will take even when Momodu Sabali called us a gay commission, Banko Jape, the Nhrc on 2 occasions were the first to be there, tell the police to make sure that they allow him access to his lawyers, make sure that he was allowed to have a bath, give him a foam sponge, and despite the fact that he was our #1 critique. But of course, then he jumped ship. He didn't say much. They can criticize that legi. When we said let them release the protesters, he said we were hypocritical because the protesters broke the law. It is true. We have the Public Order Act, Section 5, which allows which you must give permit. And we have in subsequent reports. We've engaged the IGP. Now, let's move away from that in a democratic dispensation. Let's get notification, allow them and guard them. If they break the law, sue them. We have said that. We have said that. Yes, technically, Section 5 is still in the law, but so this is in press release. You been in a democratic dispensation, allow them to bend their anger, guard them so long as they are not destructive. But even there, we were not saved. Even we got criticized. Of course, others say we are hypocrite. We don't mean what we say. Kick there, nyaka kick there. Why I also understand. Let me add my last statement. I also am cognizant of the fact tension behind her, especially a lot of issues are happening. The Salaji incident, land that have been taken away, the Jame assets. So legally things are out up there. It's a very volatile situation. So I also understand that may have been one of the many reasons why all this the hulabala has not taken.
Some people are raising this concern, saying that there was no formal complaint from Ba. It was not formal, and then none whatsoever. So how and where was the mandate
Yeah,
derived from?
okay.
So there was no
Let me
formal.
debunk. Let me debunk that straight away. One. What do they perceive as a formal complaint?
To be in
What do
written
they
format.
want? Huh?
In written format. In written
No,
format.
that is not exactly. So that is not. In fact, 70% of our complaints or things that we even investigate are not written. It's informal. Most of these things that happen, even issues of body, so it's not written. People will text, people will talk to you on the phone, and that is why I even explained straight away. I went to a commissioner. So a formal complaint, you see, let me happen. Lineka Gambia Fumneka. Kuneka expert nga. Kuneka expert nga. Nila wara deme, dafa warona binda after 2 days. It is, I'm tempted to say it's rubbish, but I'll measure myself. Sorry. They are totally wrong. The complaints that come to the NHRC, 75%, 70% are actually just a phone. Just a phone call. I woke up with something that needs to be sorted out ASAP Monday. And if this one even came in the form of a text. Text la, telephone la, you are called. You are called. Something is happening. There is a violation, something where you send your... I have investigators, some are police officers. You don't have to even just buy Malimawa, Emmanuel Ju. This is the way we operate. It's then when we call people, we even try to document things and then follow up. So this issue of there was no formal complaint, they are missing the point completely. They're missing the point. This is a person who has, and remember again, and I'm just saying it for the sake of saying it, that doesn't absolve us. This complaint was laid. And Mangepat Lukupita Gomez, like the president of the media council, Mr. Babukar Cham, Neko, can complaints come to you by phone call or inform? Of course, he even said that. But that's how you receive complaints. You sit down and wait there. I'm just even telling you on certain things. Sumalawe, the formal complaints I got last week, being arrested, Nini. And we had to dispatch our guys straight away because we were told that one particular guy was kept in a dungeon. He was almost unconscious. We had to act. I called the director of, it was on the 1st of May. Not on the 1st of May, last Saturday. I called him, Maneko, whatever you're doing, leave it. I have two calls, one from an MP. I hope the MP, Bobo Mungadega, National Assembly MP. Just for one, the way we get information is very diverse. From a National Assembly MP and a former GPU president, Falai Emnak, a former GPU incident, Mr. Juk, where are you so you would feel it will even be a disaster because this man is almost unconscious. They have broken one of his fingers and he's unconscious. And we dispatch Chisasi. I left what I was doing. So this is what I do. So oh no, he didn't get a formal complaint. Let them leave this. Hamgalala. Aversi. Nonsense. I'm sorry, I should not say this. Why I get angry because when people feel to ascribe this nonsense, I'm not a job seeker. I try my level best. That's why I am open. So I'm open door policy because a lot of things, even people are saying you listen to everybody, but you have to. If you do not listen to everybody, then you are not accessible. One of the things of NHRIs is it has to be accessible, but people don't even understand. Sometimes they don't even understand our mandate. But I don't even blame them, even the government. We make press, and you think that's in regular Korea. Government officials send bopa. Legi ñu yonenala NPP saga iñma saga, and some came from government. Some came from government. So limawa just pull mal finally tell li moy. And it's good that people understand. But I also have to understand that this kind of job is not like the office of the ombudsman or the NCCE. It's an office with a broad mandate, and we're just coming from. Listen, we are monitoring the TRRC, enforced disappearance. We're holding the government to task. we do a myriad of things. The job of the Human Rights Commission is a 24-hour non-stop job. But funny enough, despite the fact Kerok Mange the same day or the following day after Mahdi said error of judgment, we should not get involved. Mange you see coffee time. I think it's members of the UDP. Demba Sabali, the statement he made against Esafal and Rohim Aliglo that they should be handcuffed or whatever, they categorically, I was even laughing, I was in the car and I had they are calling on the NHRC straight away. When it suits them, the NHRC should be out there. Was that a formal complaint? I didn't get a written complaint that I should intervene. So the thing is this. I will not. I have no. Last sentence. I have to understand that this is the nature of the job that I'm carrying. I have to understand that that this is the nature. This is Gambia. It is where it is, and what we are doing will please some today, will displease others. So it's the nature of the job. But I think my job is to explain really, and people should have ethics. When you come to us as well, if you are not happy with the way things are going, just raise it, say it. Let us develop mutual confidence. If you attack an institution that the government even believes is the institution the board troublemakers, then you are actually weakening that institution yourself.
Okay, Mr. Youth, what was Mr. Tambe? What sort of outcome was Mr. Tambedu expecting? Was he expecting any sort of outcome?
No, well, obviously, I've said that. Mr. Tambedu, let me repeat again, before I can remember. I didn't write what Mr. Tambedu said, but let me repeat. Let me repeat here. Mr. Tambedu, from the way, and please try and also get Emil. Emil spoke even more with him. Some of the information, the brief thing I had from him, but Emil also explained more what Tambedu said. Mr. Tambedu wanted, what's the name, Mustafa. He wanted Mustafa, I believe, to be clear that he was not the subject of his target. And he has not said that he was corrupt. I said that, and I told you.
You need to please bear with me. So Mr. Tambedu is using your medium or platform, or is using Nhrc for you to go or to call Mustafa or to go to Mustafa as a messenger to pass this message on to Mustafa. Is that what you're saying?
Now, listen. Don't put words into my mouth. I told you that the media council called the meeting. Mr. Tambedu mention, you see, when people, Mr. Tambedu also has a right. You see, when people are Lila explainer, but you also, it looks as if you have one line, you have one direction. When you call people and you say somebody has a grievance, and this is what I was trying to explain to you. Lotus Amadem, when the head of state has said he has a grievance, you have to tell the person whether you agree with that grievance or not. You have to come back and tell the person, this is the grievance of His Excellency. This is the point. And it was said to him. And Mustafa, when Mustafa had that, that was said. Mr. Tambedu wanted Mustafa in whatever way to come out to say that Mustafa was not targeting him, and Mustafa and he was not saying that he was corrupt. Mustafa was very clear, and I said that Mane Mustafa was very professional. He said, listen, I have said in my rejoinder, published now. Yes, it's true. If that misconception was there, I have published what he gave me in a rejoinder, and it was already published in other papers. Two, I do not, and he said that one, which was good. He said, I do not control the public perception of what I write. So Mustafa was very adamant. So Lila, so I don't know, you're going around and around hammering that point. But you see, that's what I'm telling you. All these things were said.
I know, Mr. Juve,
when you have these things, can you explain a lot? Maybe you've done negotiations, whether you have done alternative dispute resolution, whether you have been talking to stakeholders. What happens is this: at the end of the day, ultimately, they make their decision. Your job is to facilitate. And if somebody reaches out, so, and please, again, you are making it sound, Lota ma indilla the one of Mahdi, and you seem to be very fine with it. I never heard you say that Mahdi didn't wanted me to be the mouthpiece. The NHRC is the mouthpiece of anybody. Wait. The NHRC is the mouthpiece of anybody. Anybody who feels that their rights have been violated, whether you are powerful or whether you are weak. You must give the other side all the alteram partem. You have to be fair. Listen to this. This is the issue. So, but you know, again, when I start conversation with you, you tell me 1 hour, and it goes on for long. Maybe we could try and conclude in the next 5 minutes. I'm going to a Rotary Club meeting. I'm chairing another meeting.
You know why?
But that one is about building toilets for the needy. So it's not controversial. So it's a good meeting.
Okay, I'm gonna learn, Mr. Juve. The thing is, I want to give you all the opportunity because there is a lot of speculations surrounding your name, your office, and everything. So there's an opportunity to keep it straight for everyone to understand that Mr. Juve has been doing this, is doing this, and this is what is happening. Because if not, you can't stop people from speculating and alleging and allegations.
No,
you can't stop that, which I understand. But the case here is the outcome is what I was expecting. I'm sorry, I don't. You might not like this, but what sort of did you go back to Bar Tambedu and say this is what Mustafa said? Did you do that?
No, listen. Yo, deglo lima la wade. Bi Mustafa joge fofu. Deglul boba lima. Dafa wa email. Email was the convener. I was invited. Yes, I definitely participated. And we do that. Lota Mala explain. You have no convene. You get in the Tango and others. Mustafa Dafane. Dafa wa email ne. He has had everything. Lin wahib. At discussion bi momitam lin wah dafa imune. He will go back to his editorial team and he will write to email. Did you hear what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah. So legal, because your item, you push an outcome on me. Yeah, you push an outcome on me. So technically, one was waiting for Mustafa to actually come back, and I think it would have been even fair. So Mustafa Binde, Nessa, I do not appreciate that meeting. It will be, people will say, okay, and they will even respond to it. So Mustafa, be more by Pofu. Definitely didn't email. Following the meeting. So one was waiting for Mustafa. So listen to this. The next day, what I read or what I was allowed to read was that publication in the GPU paper. You see, so limo here. Why dara? You see, my job is to explain. People will form their opinion. Okay? Some have made up their mind. It doesn't matter. Someone talk for the next 10 hours. What they believe, they believe.
Yeah, that's right.
There will be those who will listen. Maybe they were sitting on the fence, but maybe they are objective. Now that they are listening, this is the bread and butter of what the NHRC does. That's why I'm throwing names here for Commissioner Drame. They're gonna say, "I'm don't like." Neko, did this happen? There are those who will contact. They have said a lot of things. Deep in the time of Mahmoud. Some will contact them. Some will contact Mustafa as well. And so what I can do is to explain my side of the story, what I remember of the story. So if people believe, there will be some who are my supporters. They believe that they will say straight away, Juve, we know you for a long time. We don't think that you will be in any group trying to intimidate. And I guess who can even intimidate Mustafa? Nobody can intimidate Mustafa if you know Mustafa. So because the nature of the job I do, I tell you, I'm not supporters. Some people hate me for the fact that human rights. There are some Islamic scholars, ulamas. I have strips of audio. I'm not being on something else. They believe that this kafir, Emmanuel Juve, should not even hold that position. So I'm comfortable. I just have to say this. Some believe, some through tribalism. I have all this because, and the good thing about it, man, I have friends everywhere. I have friends everywhere because the mayaga jeflante ñom ci time ya jame amal lu bare luñ defalante. So I do get information from people who feel really that these people either they don't know you or they think or they are very unfair. So what I'm saying is, yes, okay, it's fine. People will judge and say, oh, maybe we're for one another because he hamna ba. But I do not think I owe an apology. I sat in Hamna Madi Hamna New Hamne, but I was not forcing anything. And in this case, it was the media council president and the executive secretary who conveyed and invited us. Did I know of what the meeting was? Yes, but he did tell me. And he even told me he preferred that a Commissioner Drama would be there. So these things are there. Now, what people are going to take from this and from today's discussion, and this is the last time I'm really going to talk about this, is that I can't do anything about it. I just need to be more careful when negotiations or alternative dispute resolutions are made. Perhaps either we have a disclosure form, or whether we have a common recording. Why, those things are even bad because people will not be very free. Everybody will be guarded. It's important that when there is no force or anything, for people to come out clearly and say, but Mustafa should have written back to Emil, and if he was very angry and said that this is how I felt, and it would have come out. To me, Lulu was very simple. You said you were going to write back. Write. Tell him. Categorically.
He never wrote back. He just went to the paper, the press.
But this is exactly what I'm telling you. This is what I am telling you 100%. So he didn't even take mine. Of course, he can get me because bagay neke malagan dañ madan contact. Madan open yere sen launching of the papers. So lima wax moy, I am not strange. So buma can step into a box as if that Mr. Juf all of a sudden he's emerging, siding with one side. I have respect for the likes of Sehu Jame, Nyom Sri Bojang Jinyo. I've been a friend of the press. I have been. You know what I'm saying? This is the union that we give prizes to every year. We do. These are things I want you guys to know. This is one thing. So yes, and Mustafa has every right, maybe to be angry, but he should convey and say, I did not appreciate that meeting. Or X, Y, and Z, or this is how I felt. But to just wake up and see GPU having tirades on the chair, people are shouting, no resign, people are now, all the stories are coming, all Tom, Dick, and Harry, those who, ñi danka fananal, Emmanuel Diouf yeb jog, di wax li len neex, xam nga, correctud, lu correctud. Why understand na itam, is the burden. I will carry this. Why, be what to be jot. Sorry to, inshallah, sorry to. Okay. Then maybe I will have a media, and maybe I will even write my memoirs as well. Maybe I'll have my memoir. The life of the first chairman of the National Human Rights Commission of the Gambia, post Gambia. That should be interesting.
Okay, I am Saul. Your final
Mr. Diouf ñu ngi lay gërëm di la sant xam naa la ci questions yoo xam ne waaw so li ma bëgg nga understand rek mooy ne li questions yu la laajte there's nothing personal and it's nothing loo xam ne pour discredit la because xam nga audience yi ñu ñooy seetaan ak ñu ñooy déglu expect nañ ne ñu ask the right questions because it's not for me, it's not for Mustafa, it's for them. So Mota, we are not leaving any stone unturned pour laajte la di question yoo xam ne bugga nañoo dégg answer si. So it's nothing personal. Ñu ngi laa gërëm di la santa ci teewaay bi nga ñëw tey and for taking the heat from us. Jërëjëf because saa ñu la invité dang dee ñëw masha Allah jërëjëf ñu ngi laa santa di la gërëm ci loolu.
Thank you so much.
maa ngi leen di gërëm Mr. Jammeh and Mr. Jengitam. Sorry, but I have to have the last word. You see, I have to have the last word. Waxal Mr. Jammeh waxal ma dégg la.
Moo tax ma ne la yow the floor is yours to share your final thoughts with us on here. A lot of comments saying I should open the phone line for us to. I say this man he's been here for over an hour, so unfortunately I'm unable to open the phone. There's phone line access, but that was not what I would promise him. And then it's got limited time. I think it's time for him to go. He got sort of other engagements to get sorted. Mr. Juve, your final
Yes.
thoughts on here.
Yeah, Mr. Game, I am a very accessible person. I don't shy away from the press. Even this one, I wanted to shy away. That was why the initial statement that came out was a bit generic, because I also didn't feel that when you have this kind of closed door conversation and meetings to have an amicable solution, whatever that means, between the parties, which they have to agree, that it should come out there. Because once you start doing that, people may lack confidence in the mechanisms that is used. And that was why I felt that I went to West Coast. You know, why I feel bahna explain. Why the thing is, a lot of people don't realize that in Gambia, when I was told that I didn't explain properly, when I explained, others ne kibum you bin thesis. Now, so you cannot use the English, the Wolof word kick there, nyaka kick there. I will not escape. But I think you have given me opportunity, and you were not you were not nakalako here. You were not begging me. You were firing 3-4 times the same question. But also, this is your job, and I do appreciate that. And I will appear again when the right time comes. Why I think for this, I have said enough. Let me continue to do the work that I'm doing, and we will send you an electronic copy of the State of Human Rights report, which will be sent. It's very important. You will find a lot of issues there of the Gambia, which we will submit to the National Assembly. But anyway, thank you very much, and thank you to the listeners. I can only do my best, and I hope Gambia will find our level, because the situation is very volatile, but I hope the duty bearers, that is the government itself, and also the state, the right holders, that is the ordinary citizens, will forge a common ground, and then we'll have a better Gambia, a Gambia where people feel it's a Gambia that we can lift. A Gambia where also let the people's grievances also be answered. That is important, because if people's grievances are not answered, we will even be caught in the crossfire. Billahi, crossfire, sujama amud, crossfire. I've worked in war-torn countries. I evacuated twice. I had to be on the floor while crossfires. Even those who are thinking for peace, they get caught up in the crossfire. This were the good ones and the bad ones. So we have to nurture peace. So understand, but there's a lot of tension. In 2026, and that is why I'm worried. And this is a genuine worry. So I'm worried. I'm really worried. And I think we should sit down together very openly and allow people to vent their anger, and also redress these grievances. It's important. So on that note, I will leave you, and I go and handle other issues. General Jeff, and thank you so much.
Let me read this couple of comments here. They said, Mr. Melvin Roberts, Mel say, you must be commended for coming. They're saying thank you for coming. That's in summary. They're thanking you for coming. And Danny Chris Dennis is saying, Alex Dabo is saying thank you for coming. At least you come out to talk. Haruna is saying the same, and all these, Melvin, Yamari, and the rest of them are saying thanks for taking the time to come. So I'd like to take this opportunity as well, because with your busy schedule, Mr. Job, I'd like to say thank you very much for the time, energy, and effort spent on here, for you to come and give us this detailed explanation of what is behind all this. On that note, this would not be the last time. I'd like to think so. When the right time comes, we'll chase you. I'll be chasing you again. Once again, Mr. Job, a gentleman. Thank you for the time, and then have a good evening. Thank you very much for coming once again, Mr. Job.
Yeah, and Mr. Jame knows how to trace me. Mr. Jame, are you supporting Julius Malema? I am seeing Julius Malema there. But anyway, good evening. You don't have to answer. You don't have to answer that question. But you look like Julius Malema. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. Right, this is where we draw the curtain for tonight's edition of the Sky Power Civic Education Program. This program comes your way from Sky Power on a weekly basis at 1700 UK time every Saturday. Till we come your way, same place, same time. Mustafa Jame at the seat. Good evening.